President Bola Tinubu has reassured Nigerians of his administration's determination to deliver on his promises to Nigerians. The president gave the reassurance in Lagos while inaugurating the completed section of the Lagos-Calabar Highway. The president used the opportunity to reiterate achievements recorded so far and appealed for understanding as the administration is focused.
This opportunity to appeal to all Nigerians that the hope is here and is realizable. That the benefit will be you'll be part of the benefit. The economy is recovering. There's light at the end of the tunnel now. Inflation is stepping down. The exchange rate is stabilized. The corruption in the exchange rate is eliminated. The corruption in fuel subsidy is limited to BRS minimum. It is your money. It is your opportunity. It is your children that must go to school, must go through the higher education. We are paying for all of that. Look at renewable infrastructure going on in various teaching hospitals and several thousands of health centers. It's all about you. It's all for you, the people. We are reducing the cost of manufactured drugs. We are encouraging manufacturing locally. We give all incentives for everyone to abide by the principle of Nigerian first.
Let's go to the United States, where academic institutions are under scrutiny from President Donald Trump's administration. The government is probing the ideological framework guiding their operations, particularly with regards to their treatment of international students. Kolo Mohammed has details.
President Donald Trump has gone head-to-head with some of the country's top academic institutions, describing them as hotbeds for race liberal ideology. Since Trump took office in January, hundreds of students across the United States have faced threats of visa revocation. Some have been arrested for participating in pro-Palestinian protests or committing minor infractions. The administration's decisions range from multi-million-dollar fund cuts to deportations across the United States. Universities are facing unprecedented crackdown, from visa suspensions and deportations to cuts in funding. The Trump administration has escalated efforts to tighten control over the country's top academic institutions, taking particular aim at international students.
I myself was actually just expelled from Columbia 2 days ago for participation in the protests to end the university's complicity in the genocide in Palestine. And it's it's pretty egregious.
The mass cancellations of visas, the revocation of lawful status without notice or process, and the immediate deportation of people, sometimes even including American citizens, it appears. I think that's just designed to create a climate of fear, and it has worked. It's worked astonishingly well, and unfortunately well.
Members of the class of 2025 from down the street, across the country, and around the world, just as it should be.
Got to behave themselves. Harvard is treating our country with great disrespect. They've got to behave themselves. You know, I'm looking out for the country and for Harvard. I want Harvard to do well. I want Harvard to be great again, probably.
President Trump answered questions on escalating steel tariffs with Japan, Elon Musk's farewell to the White House, and the status of Chinese international students in the United States. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
Authorities in South Sudan say flood survival requires vigilance and vigorous efforts to maintain and strengthen the vast networks of dikes that protect hundreds of thousands of people living on a tiny land surrounded by 4,500 square kilometers of floodwaters. Again, Kolo Mohammed has details.
The catastrophic flooding that struck in 2020 from extraordinary rainfall, causing a massive overflow from the swollen Nile River, has never fully receded. Reports say people are, however, living as best as they can on the land that has managed to be reclaimed. Last year, it reached just 30 centimeters below the existing dikes. In response, Pakistani engineering peacekeepers serving with the United Nations mission in South Sudan have dedicated their time and energy to raising the levels to at least 1.5 meters above water levels. The peacekeepers are united by their shared commitment to protecting local communities. They believe the project will promote safe return to the area by citizens who fled the war years ago. The work to strengthen the defense is aimed at preventing breaches such as that of 2022, when a rupture of the Western Wall threatened the safety of 300,000 civilians, including many living in a nearby displacement camp as well as the field office. In other news, Indian monsoon floods killed 5 in the northeast. Authorities evacuate residents using inflatable boats as people wade through flooded water after torrential monsoon rains inundated roads and several localities across Assam's capital, Guwahati, triggering landslides. Reports say India's annual monsoon season from June to September offers respite from intense summer heat and is crucial for replenishing water supplies, but also bring widespread death and destruction. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
In the meantime, a joint delegation from the Niger State Government and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has conducted an on-the-spot assessment of the Mokwa flood in Mokwa local government area, where more than 100 lives were lost, with many still missing. This is as NEMA is set to distribute relief materials to the affected surviving flood victims. Fatima Ali reports.
The people of Tifi Maza and Agwan Alsawa communities in Mokwa local government area of Niger State are still trying to come to terms with the level of devastation that befell the cosmopolitan town in the early hours of Wednesday morning. 65 years old Zainab Imin Dali, an indigene of Mokwa town, who gave an eyewitness account, lamented that the aftermath of the torrential rainfall is not commensurable to the level of devastation left at its wake. Just like many others, the enormity of loss of Anas Usman is great, as he lost 16 out of 24 members of his immediate and extended family, including his pregnant wife.
We don't know where this flood came from because we don't have any dam close to us. Flood has taken away many families.
The flood took us unaware, and before we knew it, it has ravaged many lives and property.
The office, everything, sir. We lost all the instruments. We need the favor from government. Anything they can do for us, at least let them help. A office that has 10 staff. Look at me. I have 2 daughters in high institution. Is that office to pay that school fees? So the next staff, they have a wife and kids, and this happened. So we need help from government.
Niger State Deputy Governor Yakubu Garba and the Director General of NEMA, Zubeida Umar Utold, the community spoke on measures to alleviate the suffering of the survivors.
The NEMA is here, and they came with some of the intervention. We are here to receive from them.
We've been assisting the community with search and rescue. And what we have confirmed is over 100 bodies. And this brings to bear the fact that we need to keep our waterways very clear. Our town planners need to also live up to expectation when it comes to that. Our first intervention so far has been being part of clearing the debris and also bringing out bodies. And furthermore, we've brought both food and non-food items, which we're about to hand over to the Deputy Governor.
In the meantime, prominent people of the community say a thorough investigation will be carried out to forestall a reoccurrence of such disaster. As at time of filing this report, death toll has risen to 151, 3,018 people displaced, most of whom are taking refuge in primary schools, while 2 bridges were washed away. Fatima Aliu, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has received with deep sorrow the tragic news of an accident involving members of the Kano State contingent who were returning from the recently concluded National Sports Festival in Ogun State. President Tinubu, on behalf of the federal government, extends heartfelt condolences to the government and people of Kano State, as well as the families and loved ones of those who died in the accident. The president describes the incident as a devastating blow to the nation, thereby casting a shadow over the National Sports Festival, a celebration of unity, talent, and excellence. He pays tribute to the accident victims whose dedication and aspirations in their various vocations embodied the resilient Nigerian spirit. The president prayed for the peaceful repose of the souls of the departed and asked God Almighty to grant strength and comfort to the bereaved families. In a related development, President Tinubu expresses deep concern over the severe flooding in Mokwa local government's area of Niger State, which has led to the loss of lives and the displacement of numerous families. Upon receiving the initial reports, President Tinubu directed the immediate activation of the National Emergency Response Center and has since been fully briefed by the National Emergency Management Agency on the scale of the disaster and the urgent humanitarian needs. President Tinubu also directed security agencies to assist in emergency operations and mandated that NEMA and the National Emergency Response Center provide continuous coordination and updates. President Bola Tinubu has activated all relevant agencies to provide succor to the flood victims in Mokwa local government's area of Niger State. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, who led the federal government delegation to pay a condolence visit to the Niger State government in Minna, says the president also directed the National Orientation Agency to commence immediate sensitization of the people. We'll bring you this report in our subsequent bulletins. Now, there are those whose primary objective is to uphold the highest standards of environmental responsibility, but without the seal of authority which guarantees effective and sustainable environmental practices, unwholesome activities that harm the planet could be on the rise. But in Nigeria, the Institute of Environmental Practitioners saddled with the responsibility of raising the bar to guarantee excellence stewardship in Nigeria. Charles Alpha reports.
From biodiversity loss to land degradation and desertification, the impact of climate change is aggressively on the rise across sectors in Nigeria. This is further heightened by unsustainable environmental practice by some individuals and facilities engaged in toxic activities. But in a significant and collective pursuit of environmental stewardship, the Institute of Environmental Practitioners of Nigeria, in collaboration with the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, NESRIA, and other environmental regulatory bodies under the Ministry of Environment, is empowering governing council members whose commitment transcends the protection of the environment and, by extension, the health, integrity, and sustainability of the planet.
This seal is a valid seal for environmental practitioners under the Institute. It is also a valid seal for environmental practice in Nigeria. And by extension, it performs the duty of sustainability and sustainable development, the protection of the environment, the health of the environment, and of course, the planet as a whole.
It's good for the ethics of the environmental practitioners in Nigeria. That, that this institute will help them, governing council, they'll be able to mediate, they'll be able to mitigate against practices that are discriminatory in the country. For example, waste.
Those who are experts in the environment and those who are experts in waste management should be given the responsibility of managing the environment and managing the waste.
doing any environmental project as a consultant, you must be ready to go in accordance with all regulatory compliance and laws. And once your seal is in that document, you'll be held responsible.
As these council members continue in their role as practitioners, they are to uphold the highest standards of environmental ethics and tax with the responsibility of addressing the complex environmental problems being faced by Nigeria. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International. We'll take a short break. More reports in a moment. Stay with us. You're welcome back. Nigeria is taking a lead in the African Union Sustainable Development Agenda through a deliberate effort by President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope Agenda. This view was shared by stakeholders at the Abuja NEPAD Management and Staff Capacity Building Workshop on AU Agenda 2063 and the National Action Implementation Process held in Kaduna. Suraj Abdullahi reports.
Sustainable development, economic growth, climate resilient action, gender equality, youth empowerment and good governance are identified at this capacity building workshop as catalysts for attaining AUDNAPAD Agenda 2063. National Coordinator, AUDNAPAD Nigeria, Jabir Abdullahi says the engagement serves as a platform to identify their strengths towards achieving its core mandate and deeply reflect on the new paths to support the Renew Hope Agenda drive.
Agenda 2063 is not just a document. It is Africa's blueprint for inclusive and sustainable development. It presents a vision of a continent that is integrated, prosperous, and peaceful, driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena.
Stakeholders and participants reaffirmed their commitment at ensuring a successful implementation process of NPOA, Performance Management System, PMS, and AUDNAPAD Agenda 2063.
My paper is all about the Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan. It's a plan that the head of service is very, very passionate about because it gives us an idea of where the service wants to be.
The two-day workshop equipped the participants with skills to build a resilient, responsive, citizen-centered, and future-ready public service that uphold the ideas of AUDNAPAD Agenda 2063, aligned with the Renew Hope Agenda commitment. In Kaduna, Suraj Abdullahi, NTA News.
In other news, Minister of Environment Balarabe Abbas Lawal has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to partnering with traditional institutions to promote environmental sustainability through tree planting and other climate change mitigation and adaptation programs. The minister said this when he received the Emir of Nguru, Mustafa Ibn Kiari, and his delegation to the ministry in Abuja. Abbas Lawal said the ministry, along with agencies under his purview, is working assiduously to restore degraded lands, plant trees, reduce greenhouse emissions, and combat desert encroachment in Nguru, Yobe State, and other states in Nigeria. The minister assured the Emir that the ministry would provide 100,000 tree seedlings to support the Emirates Council's target of planting 50,000 trees this year. The minister listed other areas of focus to include Nguru Watershed, Hadejia Jamari River Basin, and the Lake Chad Basin, among others. Some party politics now. The Cross River State caucus of the All Progressives Congress in the National Assembly is expressing support for the continuity of President Bola Tinubu and the Cross River State Governor Bassi Otu. Justina Etim reports that the caucus made its position known during a press briefing in Calabar.
Groups and individuals are drumming support for those they believe have performed creditably and deserve to continue the good work. Now, the Cross River State's caucus of the All Progressives Congress in the National Assembly, led by the senator representing Central Senatorial District, Eteng Williams, is commending President Tinubu for key developmental projects in the country, stressing the need for continuity to enable him complete the projects.
Mr. President has paid for a long time our external loan substantially, which is the result of the benefit of the oil subsidy. And if you see there is also what we call the shake-up in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. All it takes a man with a heart, it takes a man with courage, like Mr. President, to do.
The caucus also notes that Governor Tu's first term has brought about tremendous developments, evident in infrastructure upgrade, improved security, and other people-centric initiatives.
The governor and the deputy governor, we don't need to stress them. They have done well, and they deserve to continue. If, from what we have seen, they continue in the next 6 years again, Cross River will be a place where everybody will say, if you need anything to work, go to Cross River. It becomes destination for investment, destination for good governance.
Among the caucus is the People's Democratic Party member representing Obudu, Obanliku Bekwara Federal Constituency, who pledges alliance with Governor Basio II to enable him succeed. In Calabar, Justina Etam, NTA News.
Now, to accelerate regional development and national integration, President Bola Tinubu's administration has successfully completed a majority of long-abandoned infrastructural projects in the Niger Delta within the first 2 years of his administration. Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Momo, disclosed this while giving assessments of achievements made so far in the region since the beginning of the current administration. Ekene Ndulue reports.
For decades, the Niger Delta region had been a cradle of wealth and a theater of neglect. But in the first 2 years of President Tinubu's administration, that narrative apparently has begun to change. Minister of Regional Development narrates how the once stalled Ibeno Bridge now spans the Akwa Ibom River, linking communities in Akwa Ibom State. In Bayelsa, the Obuanembe Road, once a dream on paper, is now a lifeline of asphalt. He says these are few among numerous other projects.
The Okutipa electricity, which had been abandoned for more than 50 years, serving up to 5 local governments. That project was completed and delivered. And also the Ogbia Nebe Road in Bayelsa, about 25 kilometers, which was abandoned for a very long time, was also completed.
Abubakar Momo noted that the peace witnessed in the Niger Delta region today is as a result of numerous empowerment programs for the people of the region.
Most of the community have been solarized, both by the NDDC and the ministry, a number of solar light projects. And of course, from the NDDC, they call Operation Light Up the Niger Delta, where, as I'm talking to you, as at February, we had about 104,000 solar lights that have been constructed and completed by the Niger Delta.
With the coming up of regional development commissions for other regions, projects will be equitably distributed and perceived imbalances addressed, the minister says. Ekene Ndulue, NTA News.
Edo State will continue to witness more democratic dividends, which will give every citizen a sense of belonging. Governor Monday Okpebholo gave this assurance during a roadshow in some parts of the state capital in celebration of his victory at the appeal court ruling in Abuja. Good luck in 90 reports.
From the governor's residence in GRA through the airport road and the King Square, it was celebration all the way, with APC supporters at every point cheering up the governor on his recent victory. The governor and his deputy, who rode on a motorcade acknowledging cheers from the elected supporters, described the victory as a win for Edo people.
We have celebrated the first one, second one, this is the third one. If they are not tired, we will celebrate the fourth one. And we will crown it up with 2027. It is a door dream. 2027 is a door dream.
These party supporters described the victory as a new dawn for Edo people.
It is something that we all have to celebrate because we have worked so hard for it.
We all expected that it was going to be the same because we choose who we want.
I've been seeing his work at Abuja Slope, flyover. So we are very happy. I'm very happy.
In Benin, good luck in any NTA News.
And that concludes the news on NTA International. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis at Digunluyi.